Hello, welcome to this complete behavioral profile for the extroverted sensation type. So you could say ESFP and ESTP, primarily with hints of ISFP, ISTP, but this is mostly, as Jung would describe, the type that leads with extroverted sensing, so SE first. And so this is based on Jung's book Psychological Types, my own notes from the book, and also from Socionics descriptions, because I believe these two are the best systems out there to actually get typed in a way. So there you go. Let's start. We're going to start with like the healthy expression of SE. So the core healthy behavioral traits of SE types. The first one is strong realism. So they're very attentive to what's tangible, concrete, to what's physically present, easily shareable, right? Anything you can hear, anything you can taste, see. This is really the information they're swimming in, you could say. And so their sense of objective facts is extraordinarily developed. So very realistic. They're highly present-oriented, not past, not future. They're focused on the here and now sensory environment. They're drawn to vivid experiences, and I would say intense. To sort of distinguish it from SI, I would say intense. They seek intensity of sensation through external stimuli, so beauty, taste, movement. They desire the strongest sensation. So this isn't SI, where they seek the pleasing, pleasurable, comfortable sensation. This is intense, strong sensations that they're seeking. They're naturally grounded, so they base their thoughts and their emotions on what's perceptible and what's real. Very grounded. They're charming and they're lively because they're often sociable, they're entertaining, they're gifted in engaging others into the present moment through aesthetic, through joy. And so they're often jolly fellows and refined aesthetes. They have a sense for aesthetics and refinement. So they may be artistic, stylish, or simply like sensually sophisticated or oriented. So they notice and they're drawn to beauty, but again, strong, intense beauty in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's not like this soft beauty. It's more punchy beauty. They are practical and hands-on, so they prefer to deal with physical realities rather than abstractions or theories. Unhealthy traits, we'll get to there, but anyway, physical realities, that's their thing. They have a morality that's based in concrete experience, right? So their ethical compass, it tends to stem from immediate real world effects and not what feels, or like what feels right through experience. So it's not abstracted, future oriented, not now oriented morality. It's a very grounded morality. They're responsive to the environment, so any changes in the outer world, like weather, setting, visual cues, that will deeply influence their internal state. And lastly, there's no need for internal analysis. So they're just simply disinterested in introspection unless it relates to or enhances the sensory enjoyment. Enjoyment could be SI, but again, this is an enjoyment that's much more pushy, intense, and strong. Really want to emphasize that. Again, healthy motivations now. Well, they want to feel alive through sensory input, through strong, intense sensory input. They want to enjoy life directly and physically. They want to immerse themselves in concrete reality without intellectual filtering. They want to savor beauty and taste and touch and any other sensual pleasures. And they tend to avoid abstraction, right? Preferring things they can see, touch, and react to immediately. So now, if we go to more unhealthy or shadow extroverted sensation traits, because they do exist like any other type. So when SE is excessive or unbalanced, there's pleasure seeking to a fault, and these people can devolve into hedonism or addiction to external constant stimulation. There can be a lack of reflection or planning for the future. They avoid thinking ahead and they can thus appear impulsive or even shallow. They're detached from inner world. That can be all extroverts, but here, since it's on top of that very grounded, it could be worse. So they may view inner thoughts and emotions as morbid or even unnecessary. It's very different from me, but whatever. I love SC, by the way. Suspicious of the abstract. So they'll reject metaphor, theory, intuition, unless it enhances the present sensory experience. They're easily deceived by external cues. So because they believe so much in concrete signs, even when they're irrational, like, for example, superstition, right? So they're unexpectedly credulous and they relate all phenomena to tangible facts. So like, oh, I feel so bad, it must be the temperature, instead of delving deep and, oh no, maybe it's an emotion, right? Or this thing happened, it's probably like the weather. Anyway, it's always very grounded into some sort of sensory explanation. They're prone to jealousy and projection. So especially when intuition is repressed, it can lead to fantastical suspicions, right? So that's NI in the unconscious, taking on magical, infantile qualities where they're like, they're thinking everything has some sort of suspicious, mean, negative motive, long-term motive, right? Pathological symptoms. So they may develop compulsions, phobias, or moralistic rigidity under stress, but that's any extroverted type. They have crude moralism. Ethics may become scrupulous and dogmatic when disconnected from grounded enjoyment. They can have magical or religious overcompensation. Again, that's sort of the unconscious NI playing tricks, but there can be a kind of regressive return to like primal rituals or irrational fate systems. Like, I wholeheartedly believe in astrology, and since the moon is in Cancer, I will do this and make this decision. Like, that could be an example. And the judgment becomes distorted. So rationality may twist into sophistry and feelings become sentimentalized or infantilized, and they're deprived of the essential restraining power of judgment, right? So they just want to act now. Then unhealthy motivations. They want to escape inner discomfort through outer stimulation. They want to suppress or avoid intuition or abstraction, like imagination, possibilities, inner truths and meanings. They want to control others or reality through sensory dominance, strength, or power. And they cling to what's visible, even when false, rather than tolerate ambiguity, nuances, or doubt. So, quick typing cues here. You can ask, does this person, are they SC, right? Do they always bring things back to what is real and tangible? Are they moved most by aesthetic, sensory, or experiential elements? Do they dislike theories or dismiss internal motivations as irrelevant? Do they enjoy life physically, like food, nature, touch, physical movement, athleticism? And under stress, do they become compulsively moralistic, suspicious, or phobic? Now, Socionics can add something interesting to this. Socionics says that SE is kinetic energy. So through this information element, through looking at SE, the individual receives information about the mobilization, willpower, strength, and beauty of an observed object or subject. So it's the object's readiness to expend its energy, its external qualities too, like color, outline, smoothness, or roughness of its surface. It's a person's will, so their ability and readiness to use their will on themselves and on others. For example, how externally organized someone is, their physique and energy-related qualities, their ability to successfully exercise their will and use their official position. So when someone leads with SE, with this information, the individual has volitional qualities and is an excellent organizer in the moment of any new activity. They sort of mobilize people physically. They have an aptitude for mobilizing people towards achieving the goal, the present goal, and know how to utilize and manage animate, inanimate objects. So they say that unlike SI, it's not about a subjective sensory experience, like how enjoyable something is. SE is about achieving an object of desire. And it gives one the ability to influence, to bend and push situations and people in order to achieve an object. So it's not just enjoying what's already there. There's an element of like pushing competition, strength, power in Socionics. So it is different from Jung. Like there is a bit of conflict. You could say that there is common denominators, right? So between Jung and Socionics. So SE individuals, they'll be highly tuned into the present moment and immediate physical environment. They have a deep awareness of visual, spatial, and physical properties of what surrounds them. They have a tendency to act decisively, sometimes impulsively, based on what is physically, socially real in the present moment. They're comfortable in high stimulation, high intensity, competitive, or dynamic settings, and they're often energetic, grounded and realistic, and action-oriented. So that's common between both, but it's sort of like there are subtypes. So there's the sensory enjoyment subtype, which is Jungian SE, where they live for beauty, vividness, touch, and taste. They have a refined or indulgent aesthetic. They're deeply grounded in the body. They prefer reality to imagination. They can be charming, spontaneous, and delightfully present. And then there's like the willpower and impact subtype from Socionics Se, where the individual focuses on power, effectiveness, and the ability to act. They have a keen eye for strength, energy, status, and leverage in people and situations. So the capacity to apply force and move other objects. They feel comfortable exerting pressure or influence to get things done. They're highly goal-oriented, and they may push others towards objectives or rising to challenges. And they can often appear commanding and intense, even intimidating. And they dislike passivity, overanalyzing, or soft approaches. I can see that both of these sort of represent SE. I wouldn't be able to see any other function being representing these sort of behaviors. So I think it doesn't really align, but it's more like subtypes. I really think so. I think that when you mix both, you get a clearer sense of what SE is. So if you were to do like a combined typing cues, right? Like quick questions to ask yourself to see, like, am I SE dominant? Is this person I'm with SE dominant? Well, these are the question, and if you answer yes, like likely SE is really high, like in the ego block, so probably first or second function or whatever. So, are they intensely drawn to what's happening right now with no tolerance for abstract musings or delay? They don't like delay. Because the NI time, that's not their thing. It's the now, present. Do they prefer to act directly in physical reality rather than reflect and ponder? Do they care more about results, strength, and impact than feelings of comfort? Do they radiate physical confidence, energy, and a grounded, realistic, strong presence? Are they easily bored by mental speculation, preferring to do something, to act instead of talk and think, Do they notice and respond to visual and energetic cues in people like posture, tone of voice, tension in the body? Are they noticing that? Do they push others gently or strongly to rise to their potential, to act with strength, or to confront their reality? And do they become agitated or suspicious when confronted with ambiguous, nuanced, or subtle emotional situations? So these are all things that can lead towards SE dominant. So little integration insight here. You could say that Jungian SE types are like the sensory connoisseur, So they're delighting in realness, beauty, and vividness. And Socionics Se types are like power realists. They're driven to act on and through tangible forces, So I think it's just very important. If SE is dominant, NI is the most unconscious function. So there is this fear of the future, this fear of lacking meaning in their lives, not understanding why they're doing what they're doing, or why the present is the way it is, or why something happened. Like finding meaning can be difficult. Understanding the origin of an event, why something unfolded the way it unfolded, where they're heading, what's their purpose. Those are things that they sort of want, but they have difficulty answering those things. They're much more in the now. They prefer to act instantly without thinking of the future, just really taking advantage of the present moment, of their body and of what they could do now. They are often materialistic. Again, it is still, I think it's still enjoyment, SE just like SI, but it's a very different sort of enjoyment, right? SI is more comfortable, it seeks to harmonize, it's pleasing, it's a bit more passive. SE is enjoyment again, and I want to reiterate this, but in a strong, intense sensation way, claiming objects, getting objects. It's a bit more like accumulating objects and sensory things. And so, yes, there is a little bit of an aspect in SE that is materialistic. And power seeking, not necessarily in the long term, but in the now, am I able to move things? Am I able to make something happen right now? And because of this, that's what leads them to push others. I don't think it's that some of them it'll be like, I want power. But some of them it's simply because they want this thing to happen now. And do they have the will, the strength, the power to make it happen now? That's very SE. All right, so there you go. That was the complete behavioral profile for SE dominant individuals for ESFP and ESTP. Comment if you have anything else to add, if you have questions or whatever. I'm always curious. And don't forget though that this is based on Jung and Socionics. There are other systems out there that have spun off from Jung, and they will be different. But I like to explore these two systems simply because Jung was the originator, and then Socionics is a bit, there are more people in that realm debating each other to make the definitions more valid, whereas other systems that I enjoy like OPS and CPT, they're very popular, but there's only like one or two people. There's not really any debate. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm not sure how similar to Jung it is. Anyways, there you go. I'm gonna stop now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I love SE individuals. I'm always deeply attracted to them. It's kind of my type. So, all right, have a good week, and I'll see you very soon.